Zettel für die lange Weg. 2 Flaschen Whisky für die Zeit. Und ich date gern habe, du bist dabei. Maria geht, fahrt mal weg, ist weit. Wann ich geh, wann ich geh. Ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Hab kriegt mein Zettel für den langen Weg. Du scheinst da, als mir finden kann. Es hat Maria und Dale ganz wunderbar. Als ich dir den weiße dann, wann ich geh, wann ich geh. Ich werd dir fehlen, wann ich geh. Du sehst nicht, was ich mach, du sehst nicht, wie ich lach. Ich werd dir fehlen, du watsch sehen. Hello, Leva Light. Good evening, dear friends, Dutchies out there, wherever you are joining us from. We are back at it with another edition. It's the August edition of PA Dutch Live. Can you believe we are at the end of August already? There's a tree out in my yard that has started to change some of its leaves a little bit already. I kan net geloven. I can't believe it. Gentlemen, ladies, if you are joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. The way this show works, every month I come to you with some high-quality Pennsylvania Dutch content, a little bit of rundown. We'll get to the news here in a little bit, and then our special guest for the evening. We'll talk more about him and his awesome topic here in a little bit as well. If you are not new and you've joined us before, then you know the routine. Here at the beginning of the show, I like to give shout-outs to anybody that's joining us from wherever you're joining us from. So whether you're watching on the YouTube channel or on the Facebook page or on Twitter. Well, it's supposed to be called X, but I'm calling it Twitter because that's what it is. Sorry, Elon Musk. Please, in the comment section, let me know where you are joining us from so that I can give you a shout out. We got some people already throwing some comments in the section. Here we go. Our good friend Seth, he joins us every month. Guda Numi Dog Dog, my friend, von Sunnig, San Diego, California. Seth, I hope the hurricane, what was it, Hillary, you guys were okay. I know that it did some damage out there. I was watching that on the news. Thought of you when it was mentioning Southern California. I'm glad that you joined us tonight. Norman, our good friend, staying up as always till midnight over there in Germany. Gute Abend aus Steinbach am Glan, Germany. Norman, I saw you had a wonderful vacation with your family there in the Netherlands. Loved the pictures. Hopefully you had a good time. Our good friend Dolly Moyer joins us every month as well. This month again from downtown beautiful Fleetwood, Berks County, which just celebrated their 150th anniversary. They had a great gala. I saw some of the photos from that. What a wonderful evening to celebrate the long history of the great town of Fleetwood. Jason Brenneman is joining us. Gouda Dog von Adamstown, Lancaster County. Well, Jason, thanks for joining us. Great to have you with us. Our good friend David Hunsinger, greetings from the Lehigh County in the Lehigh Valley. David, it's good to have you here on the show. A good friend of mine, our dear friend Carol, is joining us from beautiful downtown Burnville. Carol, I hope I get to see you here in about 2 weekends. We'll talk more about that here in a minute, something that's coming up. Hunter is joining us from Midlothian, Virginia. Hello, Hunter. Thanks for joining us tonight. Donna is joining us from Holtwood, Pennsylvania. Our good friend Rachel, she joins us almost every month. Again, we got another Fleetwoodite, Fleetwoodtonian. What do you call somebody from Fleetwood? A Fleetwooder? I don't know. But Rachel, hope Jacob's there watching as well. If he is, give him a big hi from me. Rick is joining us from Austin, Texas. Found you from your Felly video. Rick, it's so great that you're joining the show tonight. I'm going to actually talk a little bit about that video here in a little bit. Thanks for finding the channel and joining us tonight. Erica, our good friend Eric, is joining us from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Eric, it's great to have you as always. And Don Moyer joining us again, another Midlothian, Virginia. We got the Virginia boys and girls represented quite well. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. If you are new to the show, this is usually where I transition into some important things coming up in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch community, things you can put on your calendar, some news to speak of, so to speak. Real quick, Ginger also, she joins us a lot of months as well. We got California represented well tonight from Sacramento. Oh my goodness. We got East Coast, West Coast, across the ocean. What a great great audience we have with us tonight. All right, let's get to some news. So you are here. It is our August edition of PA Dutch Live. We got Ed Johnson will be coming up. He's in the green room right now, chilling there. I left him a nice bowl of M&Ms and some drinks, and he's just waiting to come on. We're going to have him talking about the Goschenhoppens tonight, and also, of course, something in Pennsylvania Dutch and a song coming up here. But let's get to some events that you can mark on your calendar this coming Saturday. If you are in the greater Virginville, Berks County area, please make your way over to the historic Dreibelbis Farm. They will be having their annual Pennsylvania German Farm Festival from 10 to 4. Free admission, $3 to park, though. It's 356 Hard Hill Road, Hamburg, and that is a hard hill. Trust me, I've driven that road many times. They're going to have tons of stuff going on, live entertainment, educational opportunities. It is really worth your trip to Virginville, or the greater Virginville region. You can find out more on their Facebook page. Just search Dreibelbis Farm. They are also on other social media feeds as well. In 2 weekends, on Sunday, September 3rd, if you are in the greater Western Berks County region, myself and my good friend Chris LaRose, who I do all of my music and kind of Pennsylvania Dutch shtick with, we will be performing live at the Conrad Weiser Homestead in beautiful Wilmelsdorf, Pennsylvania at 5. We'll be playing from 5 to 6:30. We'll be bringing you a show full of Pennsylvania Dutch music, humor, stupid jokes, dumb stories, and some Americana folk music as well. I have been told by the people at the Conrad Weiser, if the weather is not good, we will be relocating to a local church there in the greater Wilmelsdorf region. In the event of that, please follow the Conrad Weiser's Homestead's Facebook page. They'll be updating that in the event that we have to move locations. But if the weather's great, we will be right there at the homestead. It is free to get in. There will be doing a kind of like a free will collection for the friends of the Conrad Weiser Homestead. It also gives you an opportunity to see the homestead and Conrad Weiser's grave and all the good things that are there in greater Wilmelsdorf. Carol, she already said it. I'll be at Conrad Weiser Park. Carol, I can't wait to see you. We'll sing a song just for you that day for sure. So that is next Sunday, the Sunday before Labor Day. Mark your calendars towards the end of September 23rd. It's a Saturday, will be the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center's Heimatfest. They do it every year. It's kind of like their fall harvest festival or homecoming festival. It is a day full of all things Pennsylvania Dutch. There'll be speakers, entertainment, educational opportunities. The entire open air museum will be open, including the farmhouse, the barn, the other outbuildings. I believe our good friend Terry Berger is going to be performing or doing some cooking as well. So definitely, if you're in that greater Kutztown region on the 23rd of September, check out that great, and it's free as well, free entrance, free parking. We have Silberblick joining us from Franconia in the north of Bavaria. Silberblick, I have been to Franconia many times. Franken, I've been to Würzburg and Nuremberg. It's a great region of Germany. Thanks for joining us tonight and staying up real late over there across the ocean. Another opportunity for your calendars on Sunday, October the 1st at the St. Jacob's, I believe it is. Yes, St. Jacob's Stone Church in Glenville. That's in York County, Pennsylvania. They will be having their annual Pennsylvania Dutch worship service and luncheon on the 1st of October. Service starts at 10:15. It will be a mix of Pennsylvania Dutch and English. We'll be singing hymns in both languages. There will be prayers and readings in both languages. So even if you don't understand Pennsylvania Dutch, you will be able to participate in the church service. Following the church service is a wonderful luncheon that they put in: stuffed pig stomach, pepper cabbage, apple. I mean, it's all homemade. It's delicious food. It's a free event. So if you're in that greater, it's in southern York County. It's a little bit of a drive, but it's well worth it. And yours truly will be giving the sermon that morning. I'm looking really forward to it. So that is Sunday, October the 1st. Just a couple more things for you to be made aware of. Our good friends at the Pennsylvania German Cultural Heritage Center. Of course, we give them shout outs a lot of time. We talk about their Heimatfest. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's they've recently added some new material on their digital folklife portal. It's a website. If you go to pagerman.org, they continually have new digital. It's essentially like a digital museum. where you can go, and then they have various new displays, and they currently have one up called Pennsylvania Dutch Holiday Traditions of the Calendar Year. I was on it the other day. You can click on all the images. It gives you the history of the image and the cultural context of how it fits into the Pennsylvania Dutch story. So if you're bored one day and you want to learn a little bit more about Pennsylvania Dutch stuff, check out pagerman.org, and that'll take you to their digital folklife portal, and you can click on exhibitions, and that'll give a list of all their previous ones that they have posted that you can access, and also their current ones. So I just wanted to give that a shout out, because it's a really, really cool website to check out. And one last thing, I already kind of mentioned it. There's a really famous YouTube star called Feli from Germany. So if you're on YouTube, you just look her up. She has a huge following. She has over almost a half. I'm going to say this, you're not going to believe this, but almost 500,000 viewers, subscribers. She's like 400 and some thousand subscribers to her YouTube channel. She's originally from Germany, but she lives now in Cincinnati, Ohio. And her channel deals with Germans, the German like a German looking at America and how Americans can understand Germany. So it's not really Pennsylvania Dutch based at all. However, she had me on as a guest on one of her videos earlier this week. In fact, it just came out 2 weeks ago, where I get to talk some Pennsylvania Dutch with her, and she tries to figure out what I'm saying. And then there's a follow-up video where she interviews me about my experience growing up Pennsylvania Dutch. And it gave me the opportunity to, tell her audience and anybody else that watches the video a little bit about, hey, not all Pennsylvania Dutch are Amish, right? We're not all Amish. There's this whole aspect of Pennsylvania Dutch culture and history that's non-Amish, non-Mennonite. And we talk a lot about what that was like for me growing up and our history. So if you'd like to learn more, check out her YouTube channel. Just search for Feli, F-E-L-I, from Germany. She's got great videos if you ever want to learn more about Germany itself. She's really good at what she does, and you can definitely check out her two latest videos. One's a short one of me speaking Pennsylvania Dutch with her, and the other one is me. That's the whole conversation's in English about the experience of at least my Pennsylvania Dutch experience. So you can check that out if you're looking for something to watch at some point. They're great videos. Highly recommend them. Rachel says, hey, Jacob will be playing at the Dryblebus Farm and the Haymet Fest. So there you go. Her son, Jacob, is one heck of a banjo player, let me tell you. Hey, former student Aaron. Hello, Aaron and Jules here. Two former students. They just recently graduated. Hey, how are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well and enjoying the summer. All right, one last thing. Every month here recently, I've been doing a hee-haw style salute to some town in the greater Pennsylvania Dutch country region. And this month, our salute goes to Perkiomenville, Montgomery County, founded in 1727, and according to the latest numbers I could find, has a population of about 5,300 people or so. So a big old shout out. And the reason I chose that is because of our guest this evening and what we're going to be talking about. So a big old shout out, salute to Perkiomenville in beautiful Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. So without further ado, it is time to shift gears and invite our guest on. This month's guest, Edward Johnson, is someone that's very involved with the Goschenhoppen Historians. Now, maybe you've heard of these guys before, but maybe you never knew what they did. Maybe you've been to their sites, and maybe you've experienced their folk festival. Well, we're going to learn their whole story tonight with Ed. So without further ado, Ed, let me bring you in here. Ed, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on to PA Dutch Live.
Thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you on. I can't wait to get you to tell the story of this group that, I think some people like, oh, I've heard of those people before, but I don't really know like what it is. But I always like to start every interview off the same way. Ed, do you have any connection to Pennsylvania Dutch?
I do. I do. On my father's side, his mother was Pennsylvania Dutch. Her name was Elizabeth Naus, and her father was Amos. And she was born in Pottstown.
Okay, Amos Naus. It doesn't get much more Pennsylvania Dutch than that. Well, Ed, you sent me a boatload of pictures, and we definitely want to look at them, and I want you to tell the story. But I guess let's start this way. What if you had to tell somebody that you ran into in the elevator, what is the Goschenhoppens? Who are they? What would you say to them?
We are an organization. It's an educational nonprofit historical society that's dedicated to preserving the material and folk culture of one of the oldest German communities in America. After Germantown, pretty much the Goschenhoppen region.
So when we hear the word Goschenhoppen, where's that come from?
The derivation and meaning of the word has been lost to time, But
Okay.
since about 1728, Goschenhoppen has been used as a place name, and it's been has appeared in public records going back that long. And it's basically the northern end of the Perkiomen Creek watershed, so about Schwenksville north.
Okay. All right. So now, for those of you that are familiar with southeastern Pennsylvania, maybe that kind of gives you a generalization of where we're talking about. So this is Bucks County, Montgomery County, or that region?
Mostly Montgomery County,
Okay.
part of Berks County, part of Lehigh, and part of Bucks, but mostly Montgomery
Okay.
County.
And you said as early as 1720s this term Goschenhoppen was being used, but we don't know who coined it or where it came from
Right,
or anything like that.
right.
Okay. All right. So let's jump into some of these pictures, and I'm just gonna have you kind of like talk through them a little bit and tell us a little bit about. So you said you're a historical society trying to tell this story. So let's jump in. Let's talk about these two images right here, Ed.
Well, the building, Redmen's Hall, was built by the Tohickon tribe number 386 of the Improved Order of Redmen. And they were a fraternal beneficial society. They built the building in 1907 and 8. And we bought it from the last remaining members of the tribe in 1971. And so that's where we have our headquarters and our museums.
And this is in what town?
It's in Green Lane.
Green Lane. Okay. So this building was at one point a fraternal lodge or whatever they called their meeting place, and now you guys have turned it into a museum.
That's right. That's right.
Is this open 7 days a week, or if somebody wanted to visit, is what are they looking at?
We are an all volunteer organization. We don't have a paid staff. So the museums are open the second and third Sundays of the month, regular hours. But if any time somebody could send an email, they could call us, and we can make special arrangements.
Oh, okay. Great. So when we walk inside, I take it that these are some of the things we might see inside.
Yes, the space you see there in both those pictures was originally a bank when the Redmen had it. That was one of the ways they raised money for their various programs for the benefits of their members. And after we bought it, about 15 years later, we converted that space into a country store museum. And all of the items in there are typical of pre-1930, what you would see in the area in a general store. And the furnishings came from local general stores as they closed, and much of the stock came from them too.
So it's literally a time capsule, essentially. You're walking into there, and it would be like, what our great grandparents, if they would have went to store on a Saturday or a Sunday morning to buy sugar or whatever hardware goods. This is what they'd be walking into, something similar to this.
Yes, everything from the right picture. The picture to the right shows the apothecary, so you could get your medicines, patent medicines, and so on. You could get your you broke the globe on your Dietz lantern, so you need a new glass globe. You could get bolts of cloth, embroidery floss, local made cigars, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, uh-huh. I'm sure. And I mean, everything, the shelves are stocked full on both pictures. There's so much to look at, right?
Yes.
You also included these photos. Let's talk about these.
Right. The second floor, which is shown in the photo to the right, is what the Redmen called the public hall. And that room was available to other organizations, such as the local Patriotic Order Sons of America, who did not have their own meeting place. And in the early part of the 20th century, for $7 a night, they could rent the public hall. The picture to the right is the entrance to go up to the second and third floors, where we have our Folklife Museum and Library.
So would you also consider yourselves a research center in the sense that you have a library? Do you have people coming and doing research?
Yes. Yes. It's many books, genealogical records, church records, photographs, maps. It is not a lending library. It is a research library, but and it's not huge, but it's a really nice collection that we have. And there again, people can make special arrangements to come just about any time.
Okay. I take it. Well, here I'll just advance the photos and you talk, Ed. How's that
That's
sound?
fine. The one on the left is that's a photograph of part of our library, and the one on the right is in the third floor. The third floor is where our Folklife Museum is. That's where the Red Men had their lodge hall, their
Okay.
committee rooms, and anterooms. So that was the inner sanctum of the tribe.
Right.
But we have turned that into our Folklife Museum. And what you see there is the stoop and a quilt frame and quilt in progress and some children's toys there on the floor. What we've done is, and this goes back to about 1964, the historians decided that they were not going to have what was then the traditional type of museum where you have cases upon cases of artifacts with little labels describing what they are, but very little in the way of context. So we have set up rooms in the museum so that people can see these artifacts and how they were used.
Okay. Which is now, I mean, you see that more and more. But I'll bet you in 1964, in the 60s, that was a relatively progressive idea, I guess, maybe in museum studies.
It was. It was really pioneered by Europeans. And I think that if you look at some of the more recent museums, like the recently built Visitor Center and Museum at Gettysburg,
Yeah.
and the Museum of the American Revolution in Philadelphia, they have embraced this. Mount Vernon has embraced this. It seems that the historians were some pretty forward-thinking people in
Yeah.
that respect, and
Absolutely.
seems to be the trend now.
Yeah.
To the left, we have some farm implements. Everything is local. We pride ourselves on our authenticity and really making sure that we have items that are authentic and during the time period that we're looking at. And to the right, we have a bedroom with a quilt on the bed and just another couple of the rooms in the museum.
Yeah.
To the left is flax culture.
Yep.
And we have the spinning wheel, kind of the typical attic in a house. You can see some smoked sausages there and so on. To the right is an 18th century weaver shop. So we have the loom there and some of the fabric that the weaver would have woven.
Is there a specific time frame that you guys are aiming for, or is it really the entire gamut of time pre-World Wars?
Yes, the Folklife Museum is pretty much pre-1870, before
Okay.
a lot of mass production and factory production. The Store Museum runs a little bit later.
Okay. Okay.
Both of these are in the basement of Redmond's Hall, and this is a blacksmith shop that was donated to us. Henry Dryhouse was a blacksmith in Montgomery County in Goschenhoppen, and when he died, the entire blacksmith shop, all of its contents were donated to us, and we took a room and set it up so that people could get an idea of what a blacksmith shop would have looked like.
Was that something that he decided before he passed away, or was it his descendants that made that decision?
Yes, he wanted that
That's
to be
great.
done, and he did everything from making horseshoes and strap hinges to weather vanes, and one of the weather vanes is in the Art Institute of Chicago.
Oh, wow. Holy
Yeah.
cow. Okay. Well, there you go.
Now, this is at the Antes Plantation, which is the other property that we own. That is in what is now Upper Frederick Township, also in Montgomery County, sort of between Zieglerville and Boyertown. And to the left, we have the very beginning stages of building an authentic smokehouse and drying house. To the right, it's in progress. And this was something we've made butchering, both 18th and 19th century, an important part of our folk festival. And we always had a mock-up of a smokehouse, but we didn't have a permanent one. And one of our members saw that there was one on Kutztown Road, just north of Perkiomen Heights, near Fruitville. And it was in decaying condition, but our people went and took some very careful measurements and noted all the materials and so on. So what you see to the right in that picture, with where the peaked part is, that's the smokehouse part for drying, smoking meats. And then to the left is a drying chamber, and there's a small potbelly stove in there for drying fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, and you sent a picture of, I guess this is the finished product once it
That's
was all
it
done.
completed. Yep. And it was used for the first time at this year's folk festival just about a week and a half ago.
Right, right. Well, that's a great transition, and now we're at this separate property. How far is the Antes property from the Red Man Hall that we were talking about earlier?
It's about 8 miles.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
close, not too far.
So let's talk about that property a little bit here. So you sent me this picture.
Yes. That's the house. That's the Henry Antes house, which was built in 1736. It's basically a sort of stone rubble construction, excuse me, with a lot of red shale in it. And Henry Antes built that house after he built a mill on the Swamp Creek, just not even a quarter mile away. And while the house was being built, the family actually lived in the mill for a time, a grist mill.
Okay, yeah. So what's the story behind that family? Were they what time period are we talking here, and where did they come up from? Did they move up from Philadelphia or the greater Philadelphia region, or did they come straight from, across the ocean and start building this mill? Or what's the story on the Antes family?
Well, Henry was born in Freinsheim in Rhenish, Bavaria in 1701. We don't know the exact date. I've never seen an exact date. And in about 1720, so he's about 19 years old, he came with his father and mother and the whole family to Germantown.
Mm-hmm.
And he established a partnership with William Deweese, and that's still a familiar name in Pennsylvania politics.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they engineered and built the second paper mill in North America.
Okay.
The first one was William Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
And that was in the Wissahickon Valley, just right near Germantown. And so first was the mill there, and he married his partner's daughter, Christina. I'm sorry, Catherine. And so then later in 1735, they bought property. Now numbers vary. Some say 150, some say 175 acres in what was then Philadelphia County, but now Montgomery County and Upper Frederick Township. So Henry Antes was a master builder. He didn't just build houses, he built mills and other larger structures. This house is very typical of sort of Central European design, Germanic design. It has that 3-room first floor, the Kammer, the Küche, and the Stube. And it had 3 or 4 bedrooms on the second floor. There's a full second floor. And then if you look at the windows in the gable end, you can see that there's actually a double attic, a very steep roof. And it was a very large house for its time. It really,
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I mean, he had money. I
yes,
mean, well, it sounds like he definitely did if he was this, if he was doing all this work. Yeah.
yes. So it was really, by the standards of the day, it was a mansion.
Yeah. So this property survives, and do we have any idea when what time period this picture was taken?
That, boy, I don't know when that
Okay.
was.
I mean, it
Um,
doesn't look. It looks like the house had seen better days at the time by the
yes,
time of this photograph.
it was modernized.
Okay.
It had plumbing, it had electric, it had storm windows, and if you look at the left side, you can see a ghost line of a roof. They did a chicken processing there. They had a little room there,
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
the house was occupied until about 1960, and
Okay.
uh, the Girl Scouts of southeastern Pennsylvania had a camp, Camp Laughing Waters, and the house was on that property. And um, some early members of the historians, and one of them in particular, Robert Bucher, who really studied uh, Pennsylvania Dutch architecture, recognized the architectural significance and historical significance of the house and the significance of Henry Antes. And the historians worked out, well, first, there was an Antes family organization that hoped to restore the house. And they didn't have the financial means to do it. So the historians leased the house and 1 acre for a number of years, and then bought it, and later bought in the 1990s, bought 25 acres surrounding the
Oh.
house of Girl Scout land that they were no longer using. So we have the house on about 25 acres.
And this is a more recent picture of the house, and my goodness, there
Yes,
was some work done. My
yes.
gosh.
Tim Noble was the man who led the restoration project. His business was in the area of historic restoration. And we got some grant money, and we're able to put the house back. We took out the electric, took out the plumbing, took out the modern windows. And one of the things that made the house so unique is that inside and out, there was still a tremendous amount of original fabric.
Mm.
The floorboards, for the most part, original. The plaster walls. Now, they did take out the hearth. They took out some of the stonework there to make the kitchen larger for early and middle 20th century needs. But we put back what was there using evidence that we saw there in the house. Now, getting back to Henry Antes, just
Yeah.
to give you a little better idea of his importance. And today, he's not as well known as he was during his day. He was, all right, so he was a master builder. He was also a public official. At one point, he was appointed to be we'd probably call him today a district justice or justice of the peace for that part of Philadelphia County. He was also a religious, we'll call him a religious leader, although he was not a cleric. He was very, very interested in seeing a lessening of some of the sectarian differences between various groups, the Reforms, the Lutherans, the
Uh-huh.
Mennonites, and so on, and even the Quakers. And so he was a friend of George Whitefield. He was a friend of Count Zinzendorf.
Uh,
And he actually hosted Whitefield at the house. And it is estimated, now this is in the 1730s, I think it was in 1738, there were estimated to be 2,000 people in attendance to hear Whitefield speak at a time when it wasn't all that far from the frontier, Blue Mountain.
Yeah, and it would have been difficult travel for those people
Yes.
too, for sure.
Yes.
Wow. Holy cow.
Oh, also, to the right of the house there, you see a bake oven, and that is a reproduction. We had some groundwater issues in the house, and we put a trench in to deal with that. And while we were doing the finished grading, we found the foundation for the original bake oven.
Is that a better picture
there's a
on
great
the right?
picture of it.
Oh, okay.
That bake
Okay.
oven is on the original foundation. It's the same size as the original. It has the clay tile roof, and it works wonderfully. It's a squirrel tail bake oven.
That's great. That's great. Unbelievable. And you also sent these two pictures as well.
Yes, to the left. Well, they're both in the cemetery. The date on the sign above the entrance says Shalcop, 1804, and that's where Henry Antes is buried. And to the left is his gravestone at a time when you could still read it,
Okay.
including the dramatic spelling of the name Heinrich Antes. You could read it back then, but acid rain and
Sure.
just wearing
300 years of
made it
300 years
pretty
of weather.
difficult.
Sure.
Yep.
So if he was so connected and knew these many people, did his children go on to be to lead important lives as well in this era of colonial America, colonial Pennsylvania?
Yes. One son, Colonel Philip Frederick Antes, who most of us know as Frederick Antes, was a Pennsylvania militia leader during the Revolution, and important enough that General Howe put a bounty on his head, and he had to skedaddle out of Fredericktown there because some of the neighbors might not have been too shy about taking that bounty money.
My goodness.
And he relocated out to north central Pennsylvania eventually. And,
Okay, so, all right. I was wondering. I was wondering about that.
Colonel Antes.
Right. I was wondering about that connection because where I'm located now in Center County, in Clinton County, which is right next to me to the east, and then Lycoming County is right next to it. There's Antis Fort with that same last name. So is that the connection?
That's him.
I was wondering.
Yep.
Okay.
John Antis was a very important early American composer, both sacred and secular music. He wrote, I have a recording of his 3-string trios, which is just lovely. And the Moravians in Bethlehem have one of his violins. Not only was he a composer, he also built instruments, stringed instruments.
Oh my goodness.
And he was a missionary, a Moravian missionary to Egypt.
Oh, geez. Okay. Wow.
And I won't go through all the children. I think there were 11 of them. Anna Catherine, I should back up a little bit. Henry Antes has another important connection. I've mentioned Bethlehem a couple of times now. He was, again, interested in solving or lessening some of the sectarian differences and so on. He became sort of disenchanted with the German Reformed Church in Faulkner Swamp, where he lived.
Okay, yeah.
And there are different accounts of why that was. Some said it was because the minister was too worldly. But anyway, he became enchanted with the Moravians. And his name is on the deed for the Moravian community, the land up there at Bethlehem. He designed and built the Brethren House, the Sisters House, the first mill on the Monocacy Creek. He lived there for 10 years. The whole family went to Bethlehem while he did this, and really got Bethlehem started. While he was there for, I believe it was 5 of the years, the house, the auntie's house, was used as a Moravian boys' boarding school. And it was very notable because it was interracial. There was at least one Black student from St. Thomas and at least one Mohegan Indian.
That's really early for that type of behavior.
Some say it was the first integrated school. I won't go that far. I'll say it was early.
Right. Yeah, I'll say, though.
The Moravians were fanatical record keepers. They have records of everything, and everybody kept diaries. And one of our members, in fact, he was a founding member of the Historians, and his name is on the Articles of Incorporation, Arthur Lawton. And he has been working with those Moravian records. He has so far written 2 volumes on the use of the auntie's house as a Moravian boys' school. The first 2 are records. The third one is on the reading and writing booklet that was used in teaching. And he's working on the 4th volume, which will be on the teaching strategies that were used.
You mentioned earlier about your folk festival. We need to take a couple minutes just to talk about that, because I think if anybody knows the Goschenhoppens, they probably know you from your yearly folk festival, which, as you mentioned, was it last week or the week before? I mean, it just happened here. So if you could give the elevator pitch to my viewers, what is that about? What's the Goschenhoppen Folk Festival?
Well, here again, it goes back to that idea of not only preserving and sharing the culture, but to do it in a way that puts it all into context, just like we do with the museum. So the folk festival is always held on the 2nd Saturday of August and the day before. And so it was just held on August 11th and 12th. And we have the 18th century side of the festival, and then the 19th century side. So we have people in period reproduction clothing. We had a member who objected to it being called costumes. Authentic period reproduction clothing. Ellen Garrett, one of our members who is now deceased, did a tremendous amount of research on rural Pennsylvania clothing. She wrote the book, literally wrote the book. And all of our clothing is very authentic. So we have people demonstrating various home skills and trades. I mentioned the butcher earlier. We demonstrate both 18th century butchering and 19th century. We have the blacksmith, the tinsmith. We have various home skills like making sauerkraut, main dish pies, pot pie. We have farm equipment demonstrations with period equipment, a horsepower with a thresher. We have the garden. You saw a picture earlier when we saw the bake oven. The garden is a traditional 4-square raised bed garden with the paling fence. So we have these various demonstrations so that people can see how these skills were performed. And one of the 2 other things that are pretty unique about the festival, we really try to get our demonstrators engaged with the public so that they're not just actors performing, they're talking about what they're doing and how it was used and so on. The other thing is we have an apprentice program, and that's for young people to get involved. And we have many young people who went through that apprentice program from the time they were 12 years old on up to graduating from high school. And then they usually go off to college, and then many of them come back, and they come back as master craftsmen.
I'm going to toss you a softball question here. Why do you feel it's important for these to do what you guys are doing?
These skills and the preservation of the material and folk culture, it was all being threatened, and not just in southeastern Pennsylvania, not just among the Pennsylvania Dutch, but Cajun culture and other cultures. When we get to mid-century, mid-20th century, people want to be modern.
Yeah.
And people want modern things. And so we start to see a lessening interest and, for instance, use of Pennsylvania Dutch.
Yeah.
My great-grandfather, Amos, was fluent in Pennsylvania Dutch and English. My grandmother, his daughter, knew a good bit. My father knew a few words, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty typical of what was happening all over. So we're dedicated to preserving all that, and not just to keep it in a dusty museum, but to share it with the public.
Yeah, I've often heard from people that have gone to the folk festival. The response I usually hear the most is, I had no idea that our forefathers, our foremothers, how hard life was for them. And
It was.
Yeah, darn right it was. Yes, it was.
You know, we look at some of the tasks that they did and how long it took them to do them.
Yeah.
They had time. They weren't going to the multiplex theater. They were not going to the swimming pool. They were taking locust fence post blanks and by hand drilling holes in them for fence posts. And that's the way of life. Taking an oak log and drilling a hole through it for a pump for the well.
I want to give you one chance also to talk a little bit of this before we might kind of shift away. But we talked about the folk festival. Does the Goschenhoppens do anything else throughout the year that people might be interested in attending or taking part in?
Yes, we have monthly programs where somebody comes in and talks on some topic. We have Candace Perry coming in September talking about some of the unique ice cream flavors in the area. So the third Thursday of every month, we have a program except for July and August, and that's on account of the festival. Mm-hmm. Our June program is an on-site meeting. So we have, we go somewhere and see something. We just most recently had it at the Daniel Heister House in Sumneytown, which has recently undergone a very, very beautiful restoration. We have a Christmas market the first weekend in December. That's held at Redmond's Hall in Green Lane. In the basement, we have baked goods, cookies and cakes. The second floor is set up with Christmas trees decorated with various themes. And we have somebody who comes in and sells used books. A couple of us make some turned wooden ornaments and other wooden items that we sell to the public. So we have that on the second floor. The museums are open. That again is on the first weekend in December. We also have peanuts and chestnuts being roasted out front.
Sounds great.
And every other year, we have a day-long symposium where we have people come in, experts in their field, and we invite people to come. It's as I say, a full-day event, usually 4 or 5 speakers, lunch is included. We're working on the planning for this next one. A couple, we've had two in the past that dealt with trades, but it was mainly, for instance, the organ builder and what the organ
Mm,
builder did, or what a typical tinsmith did.
mhm.
This time, it's going to be on specific craftsmen and their crafts.
Oh,
So,
okay.
for instance, we're having Susan Bacchius is going to come and speak on David Rittenhouse,
Mm,
who was an early American scientist and inventor. He built his first tall case clock when he was about 19 years old. We're going to have someone come in. Rich Wagner is going to come in and talk about Pennsylvania German brewers, and not just
mm.
in general, but specific ones like Scheidt in Norristown. We have a woman who's going to talk about the Stahl pottery, and Isaac and Thomas Stahl, and their work in redware. So that symposium is coming up in October of next year.
Okay, 2024.
So
Well,
those are the main things.
Ed, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and tell us the story of the Goschenhoppens. I hope that if nothing else, at least people now understand who you guys are, what you guys do, and hopefully, if people have been to the folk festival before, they'll want to go again. And it sounds like, and you have all these other educational opportunities throughout the year. And I know that you guys are also active on social media. So if you're out there and you want to learn more, they have a website. They also have they're active on Facebook and all the typical social media channels. I will link the Goschenhoppens website into the show notes for the video here. So for
Great.
people that are watching later, can go back and check and click and learn more. But I want to thank you for the work that you're doing, Ed, and the work that all of your colleagues are doing there to preserve our history, but not just preserve it, but also to tell the story, because that's for me, that's the most important part.
Well,
So that
you're
you
welcome.
have
I
that.
appreciate you having me on your show. Your show is wonderful,
Thank you.
and look forward to seeing you soon.
We will plug you guys anytime you have something come up. I will definitely put it on the upcoming shows for sure.
Great. Thank you very
Thanks so
much.
much, Ed. Take care.
Bye.
Well, people, what do you think about that? You're all itching to head to the greater Goschenhoppen area now that you've seen all that good stuff, and check out the Andes House and the Redmond Hall, and what an awesome museum. So definitely check out their social media feeds for upcoming events that you can then, learn more and get really immersed in that 1700s era Pennsylvania Dutch life. How else are you going to do that, right? It's people like Ed and the great people there at the Goschenhoppens that are continuing that story for all of us, that it's so easy for us to just get onto Amazon and order some tea towels, where our fifth, eighth, ninth great grandmother was at the loom weaving them, right? We've come a long way, haven't we? So it's important to know that history. A couple people joined us while we were in the middle of the interview. I want to give them a quick shout out. We have Patrice joining us from Louisiana. My goodness. Hello, Patrice. Good to have you from way down south. We have Brittany joining us from Luzerne County. We don't normally get people from that part of Pennsylvania. So glad that you're with us, Brittany. Ginger says, hey, William Deweese, who was mentioned before, it's my hubby's seventh grade. There you go. There you go. We're connecting the dots here. Dale joining us from Schuylkill County. And our good friend Seth was saying, it's interesting talking about the picture about the oven with chimneys and end chimneys. There's all this stuff to learn about how, like, the Pennsylvania Germans did it one way, and you only had to travel to New Jersey or up into New England, and those people were doing things differently and design things differently. It's really a crazy story of the American story and how we fit into that bigger story. And it's through people like the Goschenhoppens that we can learn all that stuff. Every month, I come to you with something Pennsylvania Dutch language related. Usually it's a poem. This month, I'm going a little differently. I was recently flipping through a book that I have about the superstitions and beliefs of the Pennsylvania Dutch. This was written in the late 1800s, and it is full of things that growing up I heard, but then there were ones that I guess died out or people didn't pass it on. And it was just some of them I was like laughing, and some I was like, oh, that's an actual really good one. I picked out three that I want to share with you guys, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. The Pennsylvania Dutch is on the left. I'll read that, but you can follow along with the English on the right. And you can either say, I like that, I believe it, or, oh, that's a bunch of hooey, as my grandmother might say. The word for a superstition in Pennsylvania Dutch is an aberglaube, which is that word there, the A word. And I'm going to read the Dutch on the left. You guys can follow along in the English on the right. Or if you can understand Pennsylvania Dutch, read the left. Über etwas sei Schulter in der Spiegel gucke bringt schlecht Glück. So looking over someone's shoulder in a mirror brings bad luck. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wenn man auf den Kreuzweg Geld findet, soll man es leer lassen. Sonst hat man Unglück. This is one I heard growing up. If you find money at a crossroads or an intersection, don't pick it up because that's going to bring you bad luck as well. So we got 2 bad luck omen years. And then here's a good one. Man hat Glück selle Tag, wenn man Marius dreimal niest. So you have good luck if you sneeze 3 times in the morning. Well, let me tell you, dear friends, that's me. I sneeze a lot. And when I sneeze, I never sneeze just once. I'm sneezing multiple times. Maybe you're the same way. 3 times, though. 3 is always the magic number for the Pennsylvania Dutch, no matter what we're talking about. It's always 3. All right. Every month, I also bring you some song. This time, I'm going to throw one of mine at you guys. So Chris and I, the Broken Spokes, will be performing at the Conderweiser Homestead in 2 weeks if you're in the area. Over the winter, not over the winter, I'm sorry. In the spring and throughout the summer, we got together and recorded some songs, just having fun. And I want to play one for you here. I just need to switch things up here a little bit. We a while back, we like to perform the song "Will the Circle Be Unbroken?" Really popular song in the American songbook, really. But we, of course, translated it into Pennsylvania Dutch. Waerd der Greis, ungebrochen. Literally a word-for-word translation. We didn't come up with our own words. We took the original lyrics and translated them into Pennsylvania Dutch. So I'd like you to enjoy, and hopefully this will play and everything will work out, the song "Will the Circle Be Unbroken?" But it's going to be by the Broken Spokes. Here we go. People enjoy.
Ich hab Schande bei mein Fenster, rufen Paul und Briefe da. Tote Kutscher ist am Kummer, mein Bruder wegzunehmen. Waerd der Greis, ungebrochen, bei und bei und bei und bei. Jetzt ein besser, immer Water, im Himmel, Haar im Himmel. Ich bin hingegangen, himmelig, für mein Mutter, sie war Mann. Und mein Vater war am Brille, unser Haus war ganz leer. Waerd der Greis, ungebrochen, bei und bei, bei und bei. Jetzt ein besser, immer Water, im Himmel, Haar im Himmel, na spiel mal. Lauter Mache, sei so gut und vorlangsam. Nur die Frau, die du forschst, dort hast du sie zu lassen. Der Greis, ungebrochen, bei und bei, bei und bei. Gibt's ein besser, immer Bruder, im Himmel, im Himmel.
Why, here we go. There I am. I couldn't find myself. Well, there's a quick little song for you by the Broken Spokes, Waerd der Greis, ungebrochen. Maybe you know that song. Of course, it's a popular old song. Hey, as you know, we also have our own Pennsylvania Dutch merch shop, Zazzle.com. We got some brand new material to share with you guys. These are fresh. Rachel got these out on the website today that I want to share with you guys. Brand new. You are seeing them before anybody else is seeing seeing them. So we have some brand new merchandise. The one on the left, I really like this one. I love you as much as red beet eggs. That's saying something, because I really like red beet eggs. And a shout out to our good friends, and particularly Jim Schlegel, the mayor of Kutztown. He loves to say this chant: ring baloney once, ring baloney twice, Kutztown, cheese that's nice. We took that popular phrase and we put it on a t-shirt with a ring. We're gonna call it a ring baloney. It's a kind of like a straighter ring baloney, but it's got pom-poms and it's got the Kutztown colors. What more could you ask for? If you know someone that's from Kutztown or the greater Kutztown region, this makes a great birthday present, Christmas present, just a present because you like them. Check it out. You don't have to get it on a t-shirt. You can get it on a magnet. You can get it on a sweatshirt. You can get it on a sticker. Anything's possible. They're on our Zazzle shop. You can get any of these designs. And we have another one, a brand new one that just launched today. On the front, it says, if you get it in the t-shirt form, ach, don't talk so dumb. You knew, your grandmother probably said stuff like that. And on the back is a grumpy old Pennsylvania Dutch woman that Rachel designed. So this is a brand new design as well. These three just launched today. So if you go to our website, and there's tons of other things there. You can see other people wearing our stuff. We got the Donnerwetter t-shirt, which is really popular, the Mock Scoot t-shirt. But again, you can get these things on magnets, on stickers, it doesn't have to be a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. They have thousands of possibilities on the website, and that website address is zazzle.com/PA Dutch stuff. So check out that if you're looking for a gift or something for yourself. Of course, we got tons of different things on there. Check it out, dear friends. Maybe there's something on there that you could get somebody, or you could get yourself, right? If you like what we are doing here, and you'd like to financially support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. It's super easy. Buymeacoffee.com/Doug Mainford, and you can literally buy me a coffee. The money raised there goes towards the upkeep of the channel, new microphones, paying the internet bill, things like that, so that I can keep bringing you the Pennsylvania Dutch content that I put together here on this channel every week and every month. So if you would like to, of course, thank you. And I'd like to give a special shout out to these 4 people that have recently donated: Alan Moyer, Todd Santee, Seth Moak, and Glenn Ritter. Thank you so much for your recent financial contributions. You guys bought me coffees. And like I said, that money goes to all things for the upkeep of the channel. All right, mark your calendars, dear friend. It's almost time to leave, but our next episode of PA Dutch Live will be on Wednesday, September the 13th, 2023. And our special guest next month will be Sarah Jane Williams. Sarah Jane is very active in the Lower Macungie Historical Society, and they are in the middle of a super cool project. That's what I'm going to leave it at. She's going to be coming on next month to tell us about this super cool project that they are currently involved in, because I'm telling you, it is super. It's cool. It's super cool. Trust me. And we'll be talking about that and some other things that the Lower Macungie Historical Society does to tell the history of that region of Pennsylvania Dutch country. So mark your calendars, dear friends. September the 13th. It is a Wednesday, of course, because we always go live on Wednesdays. And I look forward to having you all there. But until we get to next month, in the meantime, check out those videos on Felly from Germany's YouTube channel where I'm on. They're really great. They're informative. I think they're fun to watch too. Of course, check out all the other material that we have on the YouTube channel. Every Friday, I come out with a brand new Pennsylvania Dutch word of the week. I do a video where I explain that word all in English, and I give you the same video essentially, but all in Pennsylvania Dutch for those of you that maybe know a little bit more Pennsylvania Dutch or learning Pennsylvania Dutch. So you can hear the video in English, and then you can go to the version in Pennsylvania Dutch as well. This month, I'll give you guys the secret. This week's word on Friday is going to be the Stinkkäfer. Stinkkäfer is the Pennsylvania Dutch word for a stink bug, which most of you in southeastern Pennsylvania, you know what they are. You get them all over the place, right? So that'll be coming out on Friday. And then before you know it, we're in September. If you're going to be in the greater Western Berks County region and you want to come out to the Conrad Weiser Homestead on Sunday, the 3rd of September, and you're at the concert, please come up and talk to me either before the show or after the show. I'd love to meet you and give you a good old Pennsylvania Dutch style hug there before or after the show. Not during the show, maybe, because you'll throw me off my game. And once Chris gets interrupted, then he can't focus anymore. So we got to keep him focused during the show. Dear friends, it's always a pleasure that that you take time out of your busy lives to spend with me an hour every month. I look forward to doing this show every month. We'll be back again in September with a new episode. In the meantime, check out the other stuff on the YouTube channel. Follow along on all the other Pennsylvania stuff that I do on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for PA Dutch 101. I look forward to being with you all again next month. Till next time, dear friends, though, as we always say in Pennsylvania Dutch, take care of yourselves and Max gut. Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir für now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist Max gut für now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir, Max gut zu dir für now. Unsere Zeit ist all und so es ist Max gut für now. Hoff wieder mit dir zu sein, hoff du bringst zurück ein Freund. Und so Max gut, lieber Freund, Max gut.